Okay, what is up, guys? How we doing today? I hope you are well. Welcome back to another episode of Cast Me Outside with me, your host, Aaron Scholl. What's up, everybody? Today's date is February 26th, 2025. Like I said, I hope you're well. I'm double barreling, I'm double fisting these well wishes on a Wednesday. Feeling good. I just came back from the great beyond. I was just astral projecting. I just came back from watching you, Santa Claus style. I know if you've been naughty. That's all I want to know about. I don't care about how nice you've been. Okay. Welcome back, guys. How we doing? Because I should just hop into it. Because I don't have a lot to say. No, I have a ton to say. There was a persuasion guy on Joe Rogan, which was pretty freaking awesome, if I will say so myself. It's interesting. You know what's interesting? I feel like I need to get this guy's name because I'll probably end up buying this guy's book. His name is Chase Hughes. So, I don't know. I guess he has a YouTube channel and a book, and he does persuasion and hypnosis. I guess he probably owns a business that trains a bunch of CEOs and the military on how to do this. So it's all about like the actual logistics of like psy-ops and influence. And you know what was so funny is that he tells his origin story, and his origin story is I was hitting on a girl and she rejected me, and it sucked so bad. So I looked up on the internet how to not get rejected or how to talk to girls, and then I just can kind of sense that it spiraled, because a lot of the techniques that scummy people use to influence you, pickup artists use. So I think he probably entered that world. I wonder what year it was when he first Googled that. Because that would kind of tell me if he got like picked up in that like the game cultural movement. And he uses one opener. He calls it like attention getters. Because basically if you want to change someone out of their like normal habits, you have to first get their attention. And that's kind of like openers, canned openers in I guess just anyone approaching you is kind of weird and novel, so it's going to get their attention. But to kind of double down on that attention, you usually have a canned opener, at least back in the day. And his example of getting someone's focus was the first part of a canned opener. So that's just my mind kind of going to it. And you know, that world, at least in like 2004 or whenever, quickly goes into hypnosis, NLP. Like, so that's he doesn't talk about NLP at all, but he talks a lot about hypnosis and like multiple personalities. Yeah, multiple personalities, like like implanting people with multiple personality, a second personality. And how people, and you know how boxers use it, fighters. Hypnotism and fighting seems to go hand in hand, especially since Mike Tyson was trained under a hypnotist. Like his coach was really into hypnotizing Mike. So it's just interesting. I'm gonna have to look up what his book is called. The Behavior Ops Manual. And you know, he talks about congruence, and that's like a lot of it. That's like 90% of it is like being able to pass people's bullshit detectors. And you know, the best way to pass people's bullshit detectors is to walk the walk, talk the talk, and walk the walk. I was wondering if I could remember what he said, like the kind of natural triggers that prove you're talking to someone who's self-confident. Like the authority is one, confidence I think is another. There was 5 of them, all really good stuff, all kind of overlaps with where I am. They go into COVID. He talks about how to spot a psy-op, which is really interesting. So basically, if you can't talk to people about it, it's a psy-op. Like if you can't lean on their argument at all, it's artificial. So it's like, no one will have a debate about the environment. That probably shows that there's some psy-op energy behind it. And with COVID, you couldn't even say vaccine on the internet. You couldn't even say the word on YouTube without people being scared. And I'll go back to that again and again, because he was also really adamant at how strong it is, at how there is really no firewall. He kept saying there's no, like, the brain doesn't really have a firewall to protect against these persuasion techniques. It's a lot about identity. It's actually like persuasion, hypnosis, like the game. Like, it's kind of all stuff that I've really have been into. It's not stuff that I necessarily use. I don't know if I'm not smart enough or organized enough to like be using advanced persuasion techniques, but it's definitely a topic that I go back to again and again. I think it started with Cialdini's influence and probably like the Tai Lopez book reading list, and then just you start studying like confidence, and then you get like a lot of confident just videos analyzing it. They're kind of and he made this point, this might have been in his videos. I guess he has a lot of YouTube videos and a pretty popping YouTube. I watched one video and oh dang it, what was the point I was trying to say? Oh yeah, there's like the symptoms of confidence, like good posture, a loud voice, good eye contact. But that's not confidence. Confidence was the 5 things that I couldn't remember earlier. So yeah, I'm gonna get the behavior ops manual, and then I don't know. This is weird. Then they go into this colloidal blue, methylene blue. And the methylene blue there's something that is, and then Joe calls it out. I'm a little skeptical of that, how big and how it just feels like they seamlessly went. This election seems like they seamlessly went into like the cyberspace. Like all the people doing these ops. It seems like they like seamlessly got their hands into cyberspace. Maybe like it's been 4 or 5 years coming, but maybe there actually was like a bit of a counter narrative on the internet and like some independent media. But after watching like these last 4 or 5 years, it seems like they're in it now. Whatever counter independent narratives that are out on the web, like it's not coming from the biggest show on earth that has CIA guys on every other episode. So I don't know, it's kind of sad. It's like you lost your friends sold out, but like not necessarily in a bad way, but still like, yeah, I don't know. Still is cool. But also like kind of deep down in my heart, it feels like there was a big selling out that has happened to like the entire space. Like, I don't know. Whatever. Let's talk about this methylene blue. So I guess it was a dye. and some guy drank it. And apparently it like charges your mitochondria, and it like goes into your brain, which is like, okay, this is where I want this carpet dye in my brain, and it creates a bunch of ATP, which is like the cycle, or which is like, well, I guess what your cells use. I did take a biology class, and you do like even in like the first biology class you take in college, you go through, I don't know if it's the Krebs cycle or the ATP cycle, but you go through how the cell takes in sugar and makes it into ATP, and there's another TP too. But these are all like, chemicals inside of the cell. And I guess your mitochondria either use them or make them. Maybe I think your mitochondria make the ATP for your cells to use. Thank you, biology. It's all coming back to me. Amnesia. I don't know. It's the episode with Joe Rogan and this Chase Hughes guys is pretty crazy. And then I feel like the guest came out and was like ready to be like information, and like really like be almost on Andrew Huberman level of a podcast, which I hope he goes on. That would be so good. And then Joe's like, well, let's talk about the one thing that I know that hypnotism or hypnosis is used for, which is fighting. And basically how suggestible you are was a big part of the conversation. I don't know. It's kind of weird to think about that there's people out there. I mean, like, we're in it. We're in like the most, like, advertising is propaganda. Like, he kind of went through some of the experiments that are always talked about in these pop psychology books, like the line experiment. So they had 2 lines on a chalkboard. There was a group of people in a room. The person who they were doing the experiment on enters the room. Everyone who is already there says that the shorter line is longer. And then when it gets to the guy, he even admits that the shorter line is longer. And it's like, that is one of those experiments that is in all the pop psychology books. And, maybe the magnitude was lost on me of how insane that is, that we will do that as a species. We will lie to fit in a lot. We will, like, 90% of the time. So yeah, a little all over the place on that. I think it's a really interesting episode if you're into hypnosis and psy-ops and stuff, and you want to see what I don't know what this guy thinks. It all seemed pretty legit to me as someone who's had his toe in that realm for a year or more. So I'm excited. I'm also a little bit, I don't know. I don't know about this methylene blue, but ironically enough, the guy who's all in hypnotism, who's like a master hypnotist and master persuader, psyops influence, human persuasion expert, like, all these things that, like, rightfully so. If you're like, if someone's like, I'm a human persuasion expert, I'd be like, or human behavior expert, it'd be a little bit of me that's be like, all right, guy, I don't know if you're manipulating me or not. But he talked about some good stuff about basically finding people's values. And that's like that's another part of NLP where they talk about finding how people process information. So you'll see, like, and using certain words to help, like, communicate that you and them see things the same way, or hear things the same way, or they look good, or it feels good. Like, find out what sensory input that person uses. And that's probably the one that they identify with the most. Like, I probably say I think. I probably identify more with, like, the words in my head than the feelings. But who knows? Maybe that's something I'll pay attention to, so you can manipulate me better. You'll know what sensory input I like. But once you figure that out, or once you like kind of have an idea, you start talking to them. You start saying, "Oh, this doesn't. Something feels wrong about this." If they're or I'm hot, or I'm cold. So you start talking to them in a language that they accept, and apparently it's supposed to build rapport really fast. That's an NLP trick. Chase was talking about using like the. Now, this is something Tony Robbins talks about, the 6 intrinsic needs. And maybe now, like with Chase's input on it, there's like security, recognition. I forget the 6 basic human needs. But basically, from talking to them, you can figure out what they need or what's important to them, and then go in the persuasion route from that, based off that information, if that makes sense. Maybe I'll find the 6 basic needs that Tony Robbins talks about and throw them up there. Tony Robbins is a pretty big NLP guy. I've listened to a ton of Tony Robbins. I had a small phase. He's one of those guys that has his product, and it's probably awesome. It's probably an awesome experience. And then he also has his 6 stories that he tells on every podcast. He does podcasts like kind of like talk shows, where he comes in with his set antidotes and stories and anecdotes and stories, and he says them and they hit hard and it's good and it's entertaining. But as someone who's watched a couple hours of it, I'm like, okay, I heard the story. It's funny how that world all kind of spirals into itself. Like I'm just kind of tracking my weird persuasion, human behavior rabbit hole of my life. Sometimes for me, it's like a really easy to draw a blank, and even on like things I like, and then people maybe because I don't go deep in a lot of ways. I just really appreciate a ton of things on the surface, so it feels like my identity is a little all over the place. But even like, well, what do you like? What do you do? It's like, even as someone who has been alive for 33 years, sometimes it feels like it's not a very long list. Like, it's not a very enriched life. But it's like, no, man, I'm into cooking and health and persuasion and little web comics and stand-up comedy. It's like all these kind of things that maybe I take for granted, and I can hang my hat, or I should hang my hat on more as something that, like, just own it. It's like, yeah, this makes me laugh. I think this is cool. Like, maybe get into it a little bit more. Like, yeah, I'm really into, exercise videos at a certain time, or this productivity persuasion thing, the supplements, like. And now am I going to add methylene blue to it? I think I maybe tried and stopped a million times with this story. But the guest was having seizures. And then he said this methylene blue stopped the seizures. And it's just so ironic. This is what I was saying earlier. It's so ironic that the neuroscientist, persuasion guy, his brain, he's like getting amnesia. So, I mean, I hate to say it. It's like, maybe take all this with a grain of salt, like from these people on the biggest platform in the world. But it's like, I don't know, because who knows? And as far as hypnosis for good, for positive change, like, yeah, I am all about that. And I've tried here and there. I've listened to a ton of hypnosis tapes and stuff. I don't know how different I am. I know one of them was to wake up early. Didn't really take. Now that I'm kind of exercising and sore, I feel like my body's like a little bit like ready. tight, as a rubber band, like, ready to spring out of bed, maybe a little bit more. But as far as the listening to the tape and trying, I don't know, inconclusive is, if not no results. I either have inconclusive or no results as far as that's concerned. But yeah, and then, another fucking supplement. I might just order it. Maybe I'll do my ADHD thing of impulse buys. Buy myself some stuff. I'll get some packages in the mail. Yay. So maybe I'll buy this book and just some methylene blue, and I don't know. It's just weird because it dyes the inside of your body. But it's supposed to be like insanely good for your like brain and nervous system and neurons. So maybe it's all perfectly coming together. There was some exciting news with the clips, but I don't know. Basically, somebody was like, "Yeah, you can send me clips," which I guess that's how it starts. First, you're starting kind of working and just putting yourself out there, trying to be of service, and then someone's like, "Yeah, I can help you, but you can help me, but I can't pay you." I said, "Okay, I'll do it for a couple months, and then I'll see if it like actually can fit into my schedule." Yeah, I think that's a good move, because as far as clips, gym, this, comedy in general, I feel like I'm hitting kind of my limit, and I gotta figure out what is important. Okay, well, this is an episode where I basically just talked about Joe Rogan. We get into the advice. My ex dumped me a few days ago, and now she wants support. This is crazy. So a couple days ago, my girlfriend broke up with me so she could drink, get high, party, and live. And for a guy she can't even be with because he's technically an adult, and we haven't talked since until she messaged me today that she has early signs of breast cancer. And now I don't know if I should support her and be there, or if I should let her deal with it without me because she seriously hurt me, abandoned me, and betrayed me. But on the other hand, it's cancer. What should I do? And I buried the lead on this. These kids are 15. I don't want to Google 15-year-old breast cancer. I just need, 15-year-old, is that a thing? It doesn't sound like a thing. It sounds like you're getting fucking lied to. It sounds like this girl did you a favor. When they leave, it's a favor. No, she did. She did you an amazing favor, and now she just wants money to fight her early signs of breast cancer. It's probably just that fucking hickey on your boob, you teenage hoe. Like, graduate high school. Like, just try and graduate high school without getting pregnant, and see what you can do from there, girl. As for you, guy, fucking yes. This, I've had moments in life where I've said, "Give me a sign, God." I say, "God, give me a sign that this isn't the right path for me." And I don't know if those signs ever came. Maybe I'm too thick to ever see to receive the signs. But if there was ever a sign that you were dealing with a fucking scumbag, if there was ever like a cherry on top of the huge sign, "I'm gonna go fuck off with this older guy," it was 2 days later getting the text, "Hey, I think I have some medical problems. Can you please support me?" You're covered. You're under 26. You are covered. He's not your fucking daddy. And I bet you it's the older guy who's if this older guy is fucking hanging out and drinking with 15-year-olds, he's not, he's in no position to provide resources. He's probably pulling the strings, getting this dumb girl who's probably like manipulated. Who knows? Who knows what persuasion and human behavior techniques this older guy is using on this 15-year-old girl. But yeah, he's probably pulling the strings, telling her to hit you up for money, and it's not fucking right, dude. You should fucking dance. I hate this. And I've probably said it a couple times, but whatever. We'll see. We'll see how long I talk about my last relationship. So far it's been 2 months? All right. 2 months, pretty bad, Aaron. But what was I gonna say? It was a good decision. Like even though I have to go through all these feelings of ending a relationship and losing all of that like routine and comfort I had from having someone, looking back on it, and I did remember some bright moments today, but looking back on it, it's good. It was good. It is good. Good things are happening and going. So I wish myself the best. I wish her the best. You should do that for her, and you should fucking go buy yourself a steak dinner. Go do something to celebrate that you dodged this fucking bullet so early. Get away from her. She like if you were like, God, give me a sign, and then the next day she was like, I found this older guy that I want to party and live my life with. She's YOLOing at 15, which I don't know. In the comments, do you YOLO early or do you YOLO late in life? Do you YOLO early or do you YOLO late? I don't know. I'm kind of leaning early just because you have the energy, and you just hope that you don't get so cooked that you can fucking be normal enough to like provide for yourself as you grow up. But you YOLO late. You got that money in the bank, and you're a little bit more sure of yourself. Yeah, this girl's a scumbag. I don't know her, but based off the words on this screen, I think she's lying to you about having cancer. Buy yourself a fucking anything. Go buy yourself a nice book as a celebration of shitty people leaving your life on their own accord. That's a blessing, dude. That's so fucking funny. I have early signs of breast cancer. Well, I have early signs of my balls not being licked, so will you support my dry balls with your mouth, bitch? Okay. All right, that's a pretty offensive X-rated content. Save that for the end. But hey, this is it. This has been Cast Me Outside. Thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun, but we're done. Gotta run. Thank you this time for your time. And until next time, keep on living and loving. Peace.